We should start with okay, welcome to Story Hole.
You scratch my back.
Welcome to Story Hole. Kevin, I need your help.
What am I doing?
Welcome to Story Hole. Kevin, I need your help.
That's good.
Welcome to Story Hole. Kevin, help. I'm Roger.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Joey.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
I want to try starting off this episode with like a really cool immersive experience, okay?
Okay. I like that.
I'm going to start off by saying something like, welcome to the world of Hello Kitty. And then, Joey, I'm going to need you to give me your best Hello Kitty impression, okay?
Yeah.
And then, Kevin, I want you to follow it up with your best Keroppi impression.
Keroppi?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then I'll edit this part out so it just sounds really professional and natural, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you guys ready?
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to the world of Hello Kitty.
Arrow.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Give me a snack.
That's
Roger,
perfect.
where's my snack?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kitty.
I would also like a snack. It's me, Pochacco.
Okay. I thought it'd be interesting to do a story hole on Hello Kitty.
Those guys come back, I'm going to fuck them up.
Yeah.
Protect us. Save us from them, Kevin.
So rude.
Because I don't really know I didn't know who Hello Kitty was, right? I didn't really know the lore behind her and the other characters in that world. But when I first started looking into it, it seemed pretty surface level. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to do an episode on it because there's not a whole lot of depth in the character bios on the official Sanrio website. So I thought, maybe we could just do like a short episode or something. But then as I started to push a little harder, there's a lot of super weird, super funny things behind these characters. So you guys ready to get wild?
I can't wait.
Hey, man.
So today's story hole is about Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty was born on November 1st in 1974, which is also the date of the first piece of merchandise that was sold that used her as a character. It was a little coin purse that had a picture of her sitting next to a jug of milk and a goldfish. Because really, Hello Kitty was born just to be a character for selling merchandise by the Japanese company Sanrio. But over the years, the company has created a backstory for her and the other characters in that universe. So that's what we're going to take a look at, the lore behind Hello Kitty. And to start off with, we need to address probably the most shocking part of Hello Kitty, and that is that she's not a cat. She's a little girl, and her name is Kitty White. The Hello part is her nickname because she's so friendly, but it's never really addressed why she looks like a cat, because she clearly has cat ears and cat whiskers, but Sanrio has definitively stated that she's not a cat.
So is it a girl in a costume?
No,
I guess it's probably a woman now, right? She was born in the 70s. She's older than I am.
Yeah, it's just a girl. She's just the only explanation they've ever given is that she is just a girl. She's not a cat. She's simply a cartoon character, which is pretty mysterious.
Is she a DJ?
She might be. Why?
I feel like she could be a DJ.
Yeah?
I don't know. There's a lot of DJs out there that wear costumes.
That's
They're
true.
animals.
Yeah.
That could say like a
Like
marshmallow.
Hello Kitty
and-
sounds like a
Dead
DJ.
mouse.
Yeah. How does she eat? She doesn't have a mouth.
That's actually a very good thing, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Oh, okay.
That's a very good thing. She doesn't have a mouth.
And to make the fact that she's not a cat even more clear, there are actual cats in the Hello Kitty universe. So Kitty has one as a pet, in fact.
Is it normal size?
It's a normal sized cat. So Hello Kitty, in comparison to her pet cat, is the same ratio as like a human being to a pet cat. Let's take a closer look at who Hello Kitty is, though. Her appearance, we were just talking about her size a little bit. Her official stats is that her size and weight are that she's 5.
Oh, I know this.
Do you know this? What is it?
I know how tall she is.
How tall is she?
She's 12 and a half apples?
No, she's 5 apples tall and she's 3 apples heavy, which is the worst system of measurements ever. But that's
Okay, so she's little, but her cat is even littler.
she's tiny.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's tiny. She's only the height of 5 apples stacked on top of each other, which is pretty crazy.
She's only as heavy as 3 apples?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which means that her pet cat must be tiny, right? And everybody else in this universe must be pretty small, which is even more confusing because she lives in the real world. She lives in London. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
London?
Mm-hmm.
That's why she has that accent.
Does she?
She doesn't have a mouth, Joey. We covered this.
I bet her cat weighs 12 kumquats.
Probably. You're probably familiar with what Hello Kitty looks like, but just to talk about it a little bit, she wears a bow on her ear, which is part of her iconic appearance. And it's also worth pointing out, like you guys have just mentioned, that she doesn't have a mouth, which is something I never really considered. But turns out that that's a pretty important detail because it's a big topic of controversy. There's actually like conspiracy theories about why she doesn't have a mouth. For example, there's an urban legend that's been circulating since like 2008. There's a bunch of emails that were spread around the internet warning parents not to let their children get into Hello Kitty stuff because the conspiracy theory insisted that it was created in a deal with the devil.
What?
The story goes that a little girl got some terrible mouth disease in the real world and she was going to die. So her parents made a deal with the devil to save her life. And in return, the devil asked them to create an adorable mascot that was secretly tied to hell and that would lure children to Satan and into the devil's clutches.
Jesus.
And then in return, the devil would save the daughter's life. So when they...
That's a false idol thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So when...
All because of gingivitis.
Yeah. So when the parents created Hello Kitty as part of their deal with the devil, they created her without a mouth as a reference to their daughter who suffered from mouth disease.
So how does she eat?
Hello Kitty?
Yeah, is it internal retrogestion from South Park?
Intravenous? I think she puts it in her buns.
Yeah.
Straight in her buns.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Don't worry, though. I checked on Snopes, and that theory is not true. Oof. The devil theory.
Okay.
It does not check out. Yeah.
It's a bit of a leap, guys.
You think so?
I could do that with
there's
anything.
Like wild parents that always think crazy stuff, though.
Uh-huh.
Anything is with the devil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You turn bananas into the fruit of the devil.
Well, they look like those horns on his head.
That's true.
Tasty horns.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. In reality, the official reason that Sanrio is given for her lack of mouth is because Hello Kitty speaks the universal language of the heart. So she doesn't need a mouth to communicate because she speaks with her heart. They have also publicly stated that by not putting a mouth on her, it allows the viewer to project whatever emotions they're feeling on her. So if somebody's feeling sad, then Hello Kitty might look sad too.
No wonder she hates everything.
Does she? Or if you're happy, you'll project your happiness on her, and she'll look happy as well.
I'm not an expert on cats, but I feel like they use a lot of ways to express their emotions more than their mouths.
That might be true, but she's not a cat, so.
Well, I'm not an expert on humans and cat costumes.
Yeah. So we mentioned a minute ago, Hello Kitty's nationality is she's British. She lives in London. I always assumed that she was probably Japanese, right?
Yeah.
But she's not. She's British.
Maybe she's turning Japanese. I think she's turning Japanese.
You think so?
I really think so.
She lives in London with her parents and her twin sister, Mimi, that looks pretty much exactly identical to Kitty, except she has a yellow bow instead of a pink one. And Mimi's kind of shy and she's not outgoing like Kitty is, so she never got a nickname. Nobody calls her Hello Mimi. Kitty also has a boyfriend named Dear Daniel, whose real name is Daniel Starr, who's also definitely not a cat, but clearly has cat ears and whiskers. And Kitty and Daniel grew up together, but then when he was like maybe 6 or 7, he left with his father to go on an African safari, then went to New York to study ballet, and then eventually came back to London. And when he did, Kitty fell in love with him because he's so worldly and so hunky.
Damn, Daniel, that's where that came from.
Yeah. There's one thing, though. He seems like a real catch, but his favorite food is yogurt. Which I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Would you date somebody whose favorite food was yogurt?
If it was key lime, because that's great.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that? I feel like there are people out there who eat like real adults, and they they cook things and they have salads that have like, I don't know, like dates and craisins and stuff in them.
Craisins, yeah.
But I don't understand that. But they always seem to have Greek yogurts, and I'm like, why would you get that when you can just get like the Go-Gurt or the Trix one? Delicious.
Stamos makes everything look good, though.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a man.
What does?
John Stamos.
Because he's Greek? Is he Greek?
He's the spokesperson for the Greek yogurt. Like
I didn't know that.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We should start cooking more with Go-Gurt also. I think that's a good idea.
And with John Stamos. Cooking with Stamos is our new show. That's going to be our next podcast.
It's all Go-Gurt based recipes.
Is this guy, I might have missed this, I'm sorry, but is he also a person, a tiny person, tiny skinny person in a cat costume?
I mean, they're not in cat costumes though.
They just
they're just
appeared.
They're just people that happen to also look like cats.
Oh,
yeah,
with no mouths.
With no mouths, yeah, because of a deal made with the devil. Yeah, correct.
Well, you kind of already glossed over this a little bit earlier about how one might ingest something if they don't have a mouth. And I think yogurt kind of makes a lot of sense for a favorite food in that situation.
That's true. If you're going to have to put your food...
Just cram in your eye holes.
Ew, gross. Just put that Go-Gurt tube up to your tear duct and squeeze it in.
I'm a real fan of pineapple, but I think things would change.
Oh, God. Yeah. What's the worst food you would have to shove into your body, you think?
Oh, God.
Is it dragon fruit? Is that the spiky one?
The spiky one? Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All the fruits.
I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. But Hello Kitty's boyfriend, Dear Daniel, he's like a good guy.
Yeah.
But you know me, I'm more to the bad boys, right?
Yeah.
So let's move on and look at the baddest Sanrio boy, who's Badtz-Maru. He's a penguin with a bad attitude. He was born in Hawaii, but his family moved from Hawaii to a new city called Gorgeous Town, where he lives now. It doesn't say where Gorgeous Town is exactly, but it's somewhere in the U.S. So Badtz-Maru and Hello Kitty, although they exist in the same universe, they don't hang out. Most of these characters kind of have their own towns and their own worlds, although they're all part of like an interconnected universe. And even if Hello Kitty and Badtz-Maru met each other, they probably wouldn't be friends. Because Hello Kitty is a good girl. She's really friendly and really sweet. She probably won't be able to keep up with a guy like Badtz-Maru. His favorite hobbies are walking around Gorgeous Town, just making fun of it. He likes to collect pictures of bad guys in movies. And his favorite pose, Joey, I feel like you're going to get into this. His favorite pose is that thing where you pull down your bottom eyelid and then stick out your tongue.
What's your favorite pose?
I like that. Yeah, I like to do that.
Yeah, I looked up what that is. The pose is called a conbi. And it's something you do when you're being sarcastic or when you're taunting somebody in a childish way. And it's something that's been around in Japan since like 1909. So when you do that, you're like taunting somebody.
What's your guys' favorite poses?
I guess like face down, ass up.
I like to do the thing where I give you a thumbs up and the shaka, is that what it's called? The hangless thing. I like to do both those at the same time because it looks stupid.
Yeah. I also like maybe like a thumbs down and then with my other hand just a finger pointing to the thumbs down to really emphasize it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's good. That's good.
What about you, Kevo?
Mine's more of I like to do alternating fist pumps and then shake my hips to the side as I go.
Yeah.
With that too.
I like
That's
that.
my favorite one.
But it's unnaturally fast.
Yeah.
It's just a blur.
Half of the
us.
time it is. The other half of the time it's very slow.
When you're on a date.
You gotta take it slow, man. You don't want to scare them off.
I get it. No, I get it.
Badtz-Maru's name.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. Badtz-Maru's name is actually two words. It's Badtz, which means X, and X is slang. It's like slang for when something's incorrect. Like you'd mark something wrong by putting an X through it. And Maru...
That's gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Maru, which means O, which is what you mark when something's correct. You like circle if it's correct. So his name is basically right, wrong. It translates to correct, incorrect.
And kiss hug.
And Kiss Hug, too. And he's also the head of a gang that he named the XO gang after himself that go around Gorgeous Town just causing trouble, which is pretty crazy. Do you want to take a guess on how old Badtz-Maru is?
52.
I want to guess that he's 17 because in my head I feel like this is kind of a Breakfast Club situation, and Hello Kitty's a Molly Ringwald. And he's Judd Nelson.
I want to change mine to 6.
You were exactly right. He's only 6.
Gang leader.
Yeah, which is crazy. I thought he'd be a teenager too, but he's only 6 years old. He's in first grade. So he's a real bad boy, right? He's heading down a dark path. He's only 6 years old and he's already in a gang.
It's bad parenting.
Where is his parents in all this mess?
Yeah. Take a kid to Gorgeous Town and let him run wild.
That's irresponsible. Do you have any examples of the bad boy pictures he collects?
No, it just said villains from movies, but it didn't get any deeper into it than that. So probably like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I have a picture on my wall of a guy smoking 3 cigarettes at one time.
He's probably a villain.
It's like one of the only decorations I really have.
That's funny. What's that from?
It's like from an old National Geographic magazine that just had cigarette ads in it when they used to still run them. I thought it was funny.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So I feel like he's a villain. So in a way, I'm kind of the same, Both from Hawaii, both
gorgeous.
Bad boys, collect pictures of other bad boys, both gorgeous.
Yeah. I would say of all these characters, Joey, you're definitely the most Badtz-Maru.
Thanks, man.
Kevin, you're the most Gudetama. We'll talk about him in just a minute.
Oh, great.
Okay, let's move on, though. Kevin, although you're the most Gudetama, I'm going to guess that this one is probably your favorite Sanrio character, okay?
Okay.
It's Keroppi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about any of this.
It's a frog.
Yeah, but you insisted on being him in the introduction, so I assume he must be your
Yeah.
favorite. Yeah.
You kept like pressuring us.
Yeah, I want to be
You
Keroppi. I
wanted
want to be
it-
Keroppi. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Seems like a good guy.
He's a frog, yeah. And his name is actually a reference to a bunch of frog stuff. Kero is the Japanese word that they use for when a frog makes a noise. You know, the same way that we say croak or ribbit, they say Kero. And his last name,
That's wrong.
you think so?
Yeah, it's
Caro.
yeah,
Caro.
it's ribbit.
Yeah, it is clearly ribbit. Maybe they have different kinds of frogs than we do.
Ribbit. Ribbit.
Keroppi lives with his family in a house on the edge of Donut Pond, which I was really excited about when I first found that out.
Yeah.
But turns out it's not a pond full of donuts. It's just named that because there's an island in the middle. So it's a circular pond with a hole in the middle. So it looks like a donut, which is disappointing. But Keroppi is he's a triplet. He's one of three one of three triplets that were born at the same time. He has a brother and a sister. His parents named his sister Piki, which is a fine name for frog. But then they named his brother Keroppi.
Wait. So
Which
there's
seems like they really blew it, huh? Yeah. So Keroppi's name is Keroppi, and his twin brother's name is Keroppi. And they look pretty much identical. They get mixed up a lot. The people of Donut Pond never really know which one's which. It's like an ongoing problem.
Maybe they were trying to plan like a really long game heist where they needed to have a switcheroo in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
The trick is you got to get them to close their eyes because one of them has a scar on his eyelid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that scar from?
You keep asking questions and I'll show you. Let's move on.
Yeah. Keroppi's best friends are a little snail. And then what I thought was a tiny ghost. In a lot of the pictures, there's like a little like classic sheet ghost floating around with Keroppi. It's got a little round head and it's covered with just a white hanging sheet, and it kind of hovers above the ground a little bit. And I felt like the existence of a ghost in the Sanrio universe really added a whole new layer to like the mythos, right? But it wasn't a ghost at all. It's actually something else that's pretty neat. It's a character based on a Japanese talisman called a Teru Teru Bozu, which is a small doll that Japanese farmers would make back in like the 17th century. But now it's kind of a common practice that kids will make them because these talismen have the power to control the weather. So if you're looking for a nice sunny day, you would make these little ghost dolls and you'd hang them up outside of your window, and it would help to ensure that it's going to be a sunny day. And if you hang them upside down outside your window, it increases the chances of bad weather. So if you're a kid and you want it to be sunny out, you'll hang up your little dolls. Or if you want it to rain, like maybe you have to. Do you guys remember having to run the mile in like PE?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just praying that it would rain so you didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to hang these little ghost dolls upside down, and then the weather will turn bad.
Does that work for all dolls?
Yeah, I think so. We could try it.
Well, last time I was at Kevin's apartment, I remember seeing a bunch of naked Barbies upside down outside his window.
Kevin, is that a similar thing?
No.
Just a hobby.
Yeah. And so these dolls in the real cultural tradition of Japan, you hang them up, and if it works, if they're able to promise you good weather or bad weather, you're supposed to give them a drink of wine, and then you throw them into a river and let them be washed away back home, which explains how one ended up in Donut Pond. It floated down the river and into Donut Pond where it met Keroppi.
Cool. I like that.
Joe, you're a big dog lover, right?
Yeah.
I think you might be into the next Sanrio character. It's Pochacco. You know Pochacco?
Yeah. He's the white dog.
Yeah.
Black ears.
He's a little white dog with black floppy ears.
You know why I like that?
What?
I got one of those on my own.
You do? Yeah. I've seen him in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Pochacco's nicknames are Street Dog or the Detour Dog.
What?
Yeah. Do you ever give Bluto a nickname like Street Dog?
Yeah, well, I gave him Detour Dog, but I got fined in the mail because apparently that already belonged. That's also a mystery, actually.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, Pochacco's he's a street dog, which makes him sound like he's, probably pretty tough. I know you're thinking he's probably like another bad boy like Badtz-Maru, but you'd be wrong. Pochacco is really sweet. He's just a good boy.
Oh.
He lives in a place called Fua Fua Town, which translates to Fluffy Fluffy Town.
I like that.
So it's not, even though he's a street dog, even though he like lives on the streets, they're very nice streets. They're fluffy streets. And he actually lives in a back alley, but the back alley that he lives in seems very pleasant. He just spends a lot of time playing sports with his friends.
Is he the Emilio Estevez of the group?
Yeah, probably. From Mighty Ducks?
No, from Breakfast Club.
Oh.
So I feel like he'd be the tough guy that would that would fight off Badtz-Maru if he.
Yeah, maybe. We never see him even really get violent. He just has a great time. He just plays a lot of soccer with his friends. He just has a heart of gold, really. He kind of grew up on the wrong side of the tracks, but he's just a good dude. There's one thing that I think we need to address with Pochacco, though. There's a 52-minute long movie called Pochacco's Exciting Birthday.
Did you watch all of it, Roger?
No, I skimmed through it because I knew there was one part that was very important, and I just went to that part. Because in the very beginning, he wakes up and it's his birthday, and he looks at the calendar, and it clearly shows that his birthday is February 29th.
What?
February 29th is a leap year day, right?
Time out for a second. That's also Bluto's birthday. It's my dog's birthday.
True?
That's absolutely true.
Wow. Your dog and Pochacco are exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the day I adopted him. That's the day we celebrate his birthday, though.
Huh. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pochacco's is a little bit more mysterious, though, because on the Sanrio website, it lists everybody's birth year. And Pochacco's birth year is 1989. 1989 was not a leap year. So Pochacco was born on a day that never happened.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, what do you think of that? Also, side note, when I was looking into leap year stuff to see if 1989 was a leap year or not, I found a thing where there was a law in 13th century England that on leap days, women could propose to men for marriage. And if the men refused, they were legally bound by law to compensate the woman by giving her $1 and a kiss.
Jesus.
So I feel like we should maybe bring that back.
I like it, but man, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, you'd have ladies lined up around the block.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
Your lips would be so sore and you'd be broke. But anyway, we talked about Hello Kitty and Keroppi and Badtz-Maru and Pochacco, because those are like everyone's favorites, right? Those are the ones that everybody knows. So I thought it'd be good to address where they came from. But while I was researching them, I found a handful of other characters that are lesser known, I assume, because I didn't really know much about them. But they're very good, and I want to bring them up really quick, if you guys don't mind. So the first couple I want to mention are interesting because they're not cute, cuddly, fun animals. They're just monsters, like legitimately just monsters. They're still kind of cute, but they're based on beasts and gross creatures. And the first
one of these is going to be me.
No, well, kind of. We'll get there. Yeah,
okay.
Not directly. The first one is a creature named Hangyodan. He's some kind of weird fish man creature. He's got like human arms and legs and roughly a human body, but it's covered in fish scales, and he has a fish head. And it says in his Sanrio profile that he loves comedy and being funny, but inside is actually very lonely, and he just wants to find love, but he never can.
That's true for most comedians.
Yeah, that's probably, the dark side of comedy, huh?
Yeah.
Just like Jerry Seinfeld.
Just like Jerry Seinfeld.
Which got me thinking, though, a fish man that's lonely and wants to find love, that's just like that movie, Shape of Water, right?
Mm-hmm. Oscar
and I was
award
thinking
winning.
like that. There's probably a really good Shape of Water joke in here somewhere, but I haven't seen the movie though. So I was hoping maybe one of you two could make this joke for me.
No,
I want to do,
but I think we should do it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. 'Cause he's a fish, so he's underwater, like kind of like a frog.
Uh-huh.
But so he's the fourth brother, and he's adopted, and his name is Keroppi.
There it is. That's the joke we were looking for.
Sorry, it wasn't very good. It was a B minus.
It was very good. The second monster character that I want to talk about is named Kappa-Roomba, and he's this weird little turtle creature. His interests are swimming, and he really likes eating watermelon a lot. The Sanrio website lists that his favorite interest is watermelon, which isn't super interesting because everybody loves watermelon, right? It's not a big deal. But he's fun because he's based on a mythological creature from Japanese folklore called a kappa. Have you guys seen a kappa before or heard of that?
Yeah.
The turtle guy?
Yeah, the Turtle Man. And I thought it was fun because it gives us an excuse to talk about Kappa because they're pretty great. Kappa are more or less, they're slightly humanoid. They have human bodies but are covered in green scaly skin, and they have a turtle face, and they have like a turtle shell on their back. And then on the top of their heads, they have an indentation, like a bowl basically in their skulls that's filled with water. And the Kappa typically hang out in rivers, but they can venture out onto dry land for as long as they want, as long as that puddle on the top of their head stays full. If it dries out or if it spills, they get super weak and they can even die from it, which is an important weakness to know because Kappa are pretty scary and pretty evil. They're not friendly turtle men at all. So if you run into one, you have to know how to handle yourself, how to beat it. Because there's two things that kappa love. One is cucumbers, which is fine. But the other thing that they love is a small, round, fleshy ball that's the physical organ that contains your soul. And that fleshy soul ball is found inside your butthole.
No.
Uh-huh.
Very pure no. Hey Kevin, is that why you always carry around that cucumber in your pocket?
But that's very true though. Like if you run into a kappa, you have to have a cucumber with you because you can throw it and they'll be distracted because they'll want to go eat the cucumber and it'll give you time to run away. It's because they're going to try to lure you into the water and drown you. And then as they drown you, they're going to reach into your butthole and they're going to pluck out that little fleshy ball. It's called the shirokodama. And the kappa just love them. They love to eat them.
What if I put like a fake, like a plum in there as a secret placeholder?
Yeah, just a prune.
Yeah.
Just stick a prune in there. There's a good chance there's a prune in there anyway, I guess.
That's where I keep them.
Yeah.
Is there anything they're allergic to?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Why don't we just put poison in our butts?
So if you see one in the water, you just have to throw a cucumber.
Yeah.
You just have to carry a cucumber with you and throw that cucumber and make your escape. If you see one on land, it's probably going to try to drag you into the closest body of water. But your best bet is to bow to the kappa, because the kappa, although they're murderous monsters that want to steal your butt soul, they're super polite. They have to bow back. So if you bow to them, they're going to bow back. And when they do that, they spill the water out of their head puddle.
Yeah.
And without that head water, they dry up and they're powerless and weak. And if you leave them long enough, they'll even die from it.
I did that once. That happened when I was a kid.
You lost your head puddle?
No. I met one and I bowed and he lost his head puddle. It was really, really weak.
Yeah.
All I had on me was some Dr. Pepper, so I poured that in his head. And
then what?
And then guess what happened?
What happened?
I want you to guess.
That's funny because I have a similar story, but I poured Mountain Dew in his head, and he just got extreme.
Yeah, he just like snowboarded.
Yeah, he just snowboarded away. That's funny that you bring that up though, because that's actually true. If you see a kappa with his head puddle empty, and you go refill his head puddle, he becomes your servant, and he's just bound to serve you for the rest of his life. So that's kind of nice.
I'd let him go on my third wish.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before.
What's your first two wishes?
First one is
more Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, more Dr. Pepper because I ran out. Second one is to find true love's kiss with Kevin. And then the third one is to let the guy go.
When you find true love's kiss with Kevin, are you kissing Kevin or are you and Kevin just together finding true love's kiss?
It's there's three of us involved. Yeah, so it's me and kiss. Kevin and
me.
And Roger.
Yeah.
Is Roger the kappa you met when you were younger, Joey?
Yeah, that's why my head's full of Mountain Dew, baby.
He's my servant. That's what he has to kiss us.
Yeah. If you guys get a chance, you should look up old Japanese illustrations of kappa because they're great. There's always pictures of like just them plucking out little balls out of men's buttholes and stuff.
Oh God.
There's one by Hokusai. Have you guys ever seen that famous Japanese woodblock print of the Great Wave? It's like a big blue wave with little fingers and Mount Fuji in the background. It's by an artist named Hokusai. He's like an 18th century Japanese woodblock artist. He did some other images of kappa too, and they're really good. One of them is entitled How to Fish for Kappa. And it shows a man who's tied himself to this big wooden structure so he can dangle his bare buns over a river. And then when the kappa spots his butthole and goes to grab his soul, the man can turn around and ensnare him and make him his slave.
That's just
pretty good. So the character from Sanrio, Kappa Roomba, is one of those creatures. Instead of a weird butt eating monster, though, he's just a little cute guy that loves watermelons.
It's kind of a Pokemon-esque thing if you think about it.
Yeah,
because just like Charmander, if his flame goes out,
yeah,
and then he dies or gets weak or whatever. But then also you can try to capture him in a way.
Oh
yeah, you could trick him and he's your servant. Now he can fight for you.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you're saying it was like Charmander because if our butt ball falls out, we die.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, because
And there's a couple other creatures that are kind of along the same lines. There's another set of characters in the Sanrio universe that I think are very good. In 2013, Sanrio held a contest that was called the Food Character Election, in which they created a bunch of just these just like abominations of food and gave them cute little faces and stuff. And they had an online poll where people could vote for which one they thought would be most popular. And the winners became legit Sanrio characters in the Sanrio character universe. And then the rest just disappeared.
Joey, do you want to try to guess what kind of food won?
Yeah.
I feel like sushi's definitely going to be in there.
We're going to talk about the first place and the second place winner. So, Kevin, you're locking in with sushi?
I'm going to go with sashimi roll, yeah.
I'm going to go with...
oh no! Can I change mine?
French fries.
French fries? Okay, yeah, Kevin, you can change.
I want to do like one of those rice cakes.
Okay. Like,
The little black thing that you hold? Was that a seaweed?
Yeah, little seaweed piece, and it's like a triangle of rice with seaweed.
Gotcha.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good option.
Well, you're both wrong. We're going to start with the second place winner first, because the second place winner is definitely more well known, I think, at least to me. You've probably seen him around on different Sanrio merchandise and stuff. His name is Gudetama, and he's a really lazy, unhappy egg yolk. Have you guys ever seen images with
I love
the little
that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this just looks like a little orange, kind of yellowish orange blob, and he just looks very unhappy.
Yeah.
That's Gudetama.
I didn't know that was Sanrio.
Uh-huh. He's just
Cool.
this little yellow lump. He's naked. You can see his little egg buns on the back. And he's just always miserable. He's always just laying around. He sleeps on an egg white, or sometimes there's images of him using a piece of bacon as a blanket. The official Sanrio bio for him says, "Look closely and you'll see that the eggs you eat lack spunk." Which is the only explanation they give. But I found an interview with the designer at Sanrio that created Gudetama, and this is what she had to say about him, which I think is pretty great. Her quote is, "Eggs are phenomenal. The taste, luster, nutritional value, and countless ways they could be prepared makes eggs great. But for me, eggs that are relegated to the fate of being eaten also seem despairing. They seem entirely absent from any effort or energy, almost as if they were sick of the competitive world around them." And then she goes on to talk about how she designed him to reflect the current generation of people that have graduated from good colleges and did everything right in their lives so far, but because of tough economic times, are just hopeless and discouraged from trying. So Gudetama is supposed to reflect kind of the current nature of like 20-somethings that just are sick of the competitive world around them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you like him so much, Joey, because you see a kinship in there.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I see a kinship in a lot of these characters.
Yeah. You're a very Sanrio man for sure.
Thanks.
But also in the Gudetama lore, there's a man that's sometimes depicted with Gudetama, or sometimes is shown in Gudetama's place, and he's a grown adult man that's wearing a head-to-toe bodysuit that's the same kind of orangish yellow color as Gudetama is.
So funny.
And the story is that he was just a normal guy, but one day he was making breakfast and he cracked open an egg and Gudetama fell out, and he was so shocked and disturbed by it that it was traumatic. It ruined his life because he couldn't stop thinking about the weird little lazy egg yolk man, and it became an obsession. And and eventually he started to imagine himself as Gudetama, and it became so deeply inset in him that it moved from his imagination into real life, and now he just dresses like Gudetama all the time. So he was just driven insane by this traumatic encounter with a little lazy Eggman.
I definitely identify with all of these characters. Oh, that's so funny.
Anyway, Gudetama, he's only the second place winner in the Sanrio character election that they held, though. The first place winner...
Who could beat that?
Kevin, you should have stuck with your first answer because you were very close. The first place winner is a character that I've never seen before. I don't think it's really catching on in the US as much as Gudetama has for whatever reason. But it's another kind of food abomination named Keroppi. And Keroppi has this naked little pink human body, this little pudgy human body. But instead of a human head, she just has this giant fish fillet, a giant slice of salmon meat that's way too big for her tiny pink pudgy body. She was born on August 31st in 2013 when someone sliced the fillet of salmon, and that fillet sprouted a little body and a little face and instantly rose up the pop music charts and became the most successful pop singer in the fish fillet scene.
That's very funny.
And yeah, she's like sweet and generous. She has a lot of friends. She also wants everyone to know that she's very delicious, and she looks forward to being eaten. Why would you
advertise that?
She's really into getting eaten. A lot of her songs are about like how she can't wait to be eaten someday in the future, which is pretty rough. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about in the Hello Kitty world before we wrap things up, though, and that's Hello Kitty Online. Hello Kitty Online is an MMO video game that opened up in 2008. Have you guys heard of that?
No.
Oh my God.
Kevin, you love MMOs. I feel like you might be into it. Yeah.
I'm going to look it up immediately after
Hello
this.
Kitty Online.
I tried to see if you could still play it, and I don't see like a server running it. There seems like there's a different game in its place, so I think it might have disappeared. 2008 was 10 years ago, so that's a pretty long time for an MMO to run. So I don't know if it's still available. But in it, you can create your own human avatar and then jump into the world of Hello Kitty and play with all the characters in that universe. And like I said, I couldn't find it myself, so I haven't played it, but I did some research and watched a lot of gameplay videos and stuff. And there's a couple of notable things that I found. One is that the description of the game says, help Hello Kitty and her friends wake up from maternal slumber and defeat a mysterious and malevolent power, which sounds pretty wild, right? I was expecting it to be like just collecting different flowers or something to decorate your house, but you're like full on fighting monsters. It seems like a pretty robust game. You can level up, you buy gear, there's PvP, there's item crafting, there's a pet system. And in the character creation part, you get to choose not only like what your face looks like and your hair color, but also your blood type, which I think is a pretty insane detail, which also makes me think that maybe there's like a weird blood transfusion mechanic or something in the game, right?
Yeah.
Bring him back to life. Only if you're O positive.
Only if you be positive.
And then maybe the best part, I think, is that in 2009, Sanrio announced an expansion to the game called Hello Kitty Island Adventure. And the announcement described it as the first ever expansion pack that will reduce the overall size of the game rather than expand it, which I think is pretty funny. But the actual gameplay is that you and the Hello Kitty characters are flying on an airliner from Australia back home to the US when something happens on board and the plane crashes on a mysterious deserted island. And then you and the surviving Hello Kitty members have to struggle to survive on the island against wild animals, and there's mysterious island natives, and there's this whole kind of air of mystery around the island. It seems very dangerous. And ultimately, your group has to choose which one of two different Sanrio characters you want to have as your leader. It kind of splits, and each one has their own different motives and their outlooks on what life on the island should be like, which sounds pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
And also definitely the plot of the TV show Lost. It's like 100% Lost, which is really great. Like everything about it was just like using Lost as a template for this game expansion. But disappointingly, it was later announced that Hello Kitty Island Adventure was just a joke. It was never actually a thing.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, because I totally want to play that.
Yeah, in my head, I had a bunch of wacky things going on. I was thinking of Lord of the Flies, and then I was thinking of what's that game? It's really, really harsh, and like there's a plane that crashes, and you can like raid the plane.
The Forest.
The Forest.
It's like that, and I'd like to imagine that it's the same exact game, and it's really, really violent and really good graphics. But
which Sanrio character would you choose if you had to pick one to be your survival island boy or girl?
I'm on Team Edward.
Kevin, you're choosing Edward from Twilight.
Yeah, I'm on Team Edward. I mean Lost. That's the Lost guy, right?
I don't think so. I think that's Twilight. But still, it still works.
I didn't play that game, but I did play for a while. I had a brief obsession with another Hello Kitty game.
What was it?
It's a Hello Kitty Cafe. You can download it on your phone.
Oh, that's right. Hello Kitty Cafe. Yeah, I remember you played that. I read about it a little bit, but it didn't seem like it really expanded on the lore too much of the town or anything, did it?
No, it was a goddamn anxiety-ridden panic attack. Because you just have to like bust these tables and cook and serve, and I was like, and man, it was so hard to keep up, make everybody happy.
Did it make you feel like running a restaurant might be just too much for you to handle?
Yeah.
Did it make you respect people in the service industry more?
I already respected them more than anyone else on the earth ever will. I love you. I tip great. Serve me good.
That's true. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You should maybe spread some of that over to Kevin though, because Kevin's a real son of a bitch when it comes to service people.
Yeah, man.
Service my ass.
Hey, Kevin. Do you actually want me to service your ass? Can you come over here for a second? Just go ahead and
No, Kevin, don't do it.
Go ahead and lean
He's
over.
a cop. He's going to steal your butt ball.
Let me reach on in there.
Well, if I lean over, I'm bowing.
But
How's that work? I mean, would I don't bow at someone whose butt.
Kevin, if you see somebody just bending over on the street, do you think they're bowing to you and you bow back to them?
I mean, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be rude not to.
You mean, did I interpret that scenario correctly? Yes, I did.
I think that's going to do it for the Hello Kitty world. Do you guys have any things you want to reflect on? Anything you want to add at the end?
Makes me want to collect.
Yeah.
Makes me want to get in there and buy that.
Yeah, we should get into
Makes
it.
me want to change the way I think about the world and life after this world.
Yeah. I hope next time we see you, Kevin, you're wearing a Hello Kitty shirt and you have little kitty ears on.
I hope he just has like a head, a Hello Kitty head, and just said it, and it tells us this is just who I am now.
Kevin, do you remember a couple years ago when for Halloween you were a Chippendales rescue ranger?
Rescue dancer?
Yeah. So you're like a Chippendales dancer with no shirt and just like collars and cuffs on, but also Chip from Chippendales.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a little cute nose and little whiskers.
Mm-hmm.
I picture kind of like that. Maybe you'll have just kind of like, maybe I picture if you get really into Hello Kitty, you'll probably have a cat head, but still just a beautiful shirtless body.
You remember how many apples I was?
Oh yeah, I would say you're probably 17 apples tall, right?
Yeah, I was 17 apples tall and 3 apples
3 apples heavy. Yeah. Very light.
I floated around that party.
Yeah, it's true.
If you guys had to choose what fruit of measurement you would be for height and weight, what fruit would you choose?
Cherries, so I could have a really big number.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now,
Yeah.
see, I want to keep my number low, so I'll probably go some kind of big melon.
Yeah.
Big watermelon, maybe.
I was thinking watermelon.
I just want to be one watermelon heavy and one watermelon tall.
You're just a watermelon then.
Yeah. I just want to be the shape and size of a watermelon.
I'm probably just a normal red apple.
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. You'd be good.
Kinda-
Apple makes sense.
Kind of short, kind of stout, kind of bright,
Yeah.
Pretty standard.
Uh-huh.
Wider at the top than the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, I think you'd probably be like
A green bean.
maybe a green bean, but I was also thinking maybe 2 green beans standing up vertically, and then up at the top of them there's maybe like a kiwi, and then above that kiwi
Yeah.
then there's probably like
A tiny little hat.
a tiny little hat. Looks exactly like you.
And also you have little rain boots too.
Honestly,
And I love that fruit.
just
Submit that to Sanrio. His name is Kevin. Yeah.
I think if I was a fruit, I'd probably be a raisin, but a cool raisin,
Yeah.
that maybe wears sunglasses and has shoes.
Do you play music at all, or?
Yeah, maybe just like the saxophone,
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. We should submit that to Sanrio too.
Yeah.
Like a group of raisins that play music and wear sunglasses.
Probably 4, I think.
4 of them, yeah. They're from California. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Hey, if you like what we're doing, hop on Instagram and you can follow us at Storyhole Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at Storyhole1. Also, if you want to check it out on YouTube, all of our audio is there as well, and it has fun little visuals.
Yeah, it's great. All right, smash that subscribe.
Hey, smush the subscribe, okay?
Smashing. Eliza.
Hey, add my personal phone number as well.
What is it?
3. Bye.
Bye.